President William Ruto has been exposed badly in a deal gone sour as Kenyans try to unravel the mystery behind the 4 billion scandal. Welcome to Kenya Lens Media, where we bring you news updates as they break, and kindly, if you are new here, consider subscribing. Now, the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has accused the President William Ruto of using the ongoing fuel scandal to protect personal business interests as investigations into the petroleum sector continue to widen and deepen. The accusation comes at a time when the country is already grappling with the fallout from the major energy sector probe, and several senior officials have been arrested or forced to step down. Investigators are examining claims of irregular fuel procurement, possible manipulation of fuel stock data, and the importation of fuel that may not meet required standards. Now the political dimension of the scandal is becoming more visible, and speaking in Murang'a on April 4th, 2026, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua alleged that arrests of key petroleum officials are not linked to wrongdoing but to competition within the fuel supply system. He claims the dispute centers on Kenya's government-to-government fuel supply framework, commonly referred to as G2G, and this framework was introduced in 2023 to stabilize fuel supply, reduce exposure to global price shocks, and ease pressure on foreign exchange reserves. Under this system, the government entered agreements with international suppliers to ensure steady and predictable fuel imports. For some time, the arrangement appeared to deliver stability. Fuel shortages reduced, supply chains remained intact, and the market experienced fewer disruptions. But according to Gachagua, the framework has also created a concentrated structure to which only selected companies benefit from the government-linked fuel transactions. He alleges that certain private entities linked to powerful individuals have been at the center of these arrangements, and he further claims that the recent actions taken against petroleum officials are tied to attempts to introduce alternative fuel supplies outside the system. According to his account, some officials sought to source fuel at lower prices to caution Kenyans from rising costs, and this, he says, brought them into direct competition with existing supply channels under the G2G framework. Gachagua maintains that the officials acted in what he describes as the public interest, aiming to ease pressure on consumers already struggling with the high fuel prices. However, he alleges that their actions triggered resistance from those benefiting from the current system. As a result, he claims law enforcement action was initiated not purely on the basis of regulatory violations but due to business competition. The claims extend further, and Gachagua has accused the administration of using state institutions, including the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, to suppress competitors within the petroleum sector. He alleges that the enforcement actions have been selectively applied, targeting individuals who challenge existing commercial arrangement, and at the same time, the former deputy president has raised concerns about taxation within the fuel sector. He points to the increase of value-added tax on fuel and introduction of additional fuel levy, and according to him, these measures have contributed to higher pump prices, placing additional strain on the households and businesses. He also links the fuel levy to large-scale government borrowing, raising questions about how those funds are being used. In his assessment, removing or reducing these taxes would help stabilize fuel prices and also ease the cost of living. Beyond pricing concerns, Gachagua has also raised issues around the management of key institutions in petroleum supply chain. He has questioned recent leadership changes at the Kenya Pipeline Company, suggesting that appointments may be influenced by factors outside formal governance processes. He also expressed concern over reported attempts to appoint leadership from outside the country, raising questions about transparency and also national interest. In addition, he has alleged that funds from pension schemes and unclaimed assets may have been used to finance acquisitions within the energy sector. He argues that such actions, if confirmed, would raise serious legal and ethical concerns, particularly regarding the protection of public funds. And these claims have not been independently verified within the scope of the ongoing investigation. However, they add a new layer of complexity to already sensitive national issue. The controversy has also drawn in other political leaders. Kiharu Member of Parliament Ndindi Nyoro has expressed similar concerns regarding the fuel supply system. Nyoro has pointed to what he describes as a broader pattern of control within the sector, suggesting that attempts to operate outside established arrangements may face resistance. He has also highlighted the impact of consumers, noting that taxes and also levies make up a significant portion of fuel prices. And according to him, there is room for policy intervention to reduce the burden on the public. His proposals include reviewing fuel taxes and also improving communication to prevent panic buying and also hoarding. Meanwhile, the investigation into the fuel scandal continues, and authorities are examining the circumstances surrounding emergency fuel imports that were allegedly overpriced and also questionable quality. There are also ongoing inquiries into whether fuel stock data was manipulated to create the impression of the shortage. Such a scenario would have justified emergency procurement outside the G2G framework, and 3 senior officials have already stepped it down following the investigation. The Petroleum Principal Secretary, the Managing Director of the Kenya Pipeline Company, and the Director General of the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority. Their exit marks a significant moment in the unfolding situation. It signals the seriousness of the allegations and the level of scrutiny now facing the energy sector. For many Kenyans, the issue goes beyond politics, and fuel prices affect nearly every part of the daily life. Transport costs rise, food prices increase, business face higher operating expenses. Any irregularity in the supply chain has direct consequences for households across the country, and this is why the integrity of the system remains critical. The government has maintained that investigations are ongoing and that all actions are being guided by the law. Officials have reiterated the importance of transparency and accountability in handling of public resources, and as the inquiry progresses, more details are expected to emerge. For now, the country is left with the competing narratives. On one side, a government pursuing an investigation into alleged economic misconduct, and on the other, claims of political and commercial interests shaping the outcome of the investigation. The truth will ultimately depend on evidence gathered, tested, and also presented through established legal processes. What remains clear is that the stakes are high, not only for those directly involved, but also for the broader economy and the public confidence in national institutions. As investigations continue, Kenya now watches closely where the line between power, policy, and public interest must be clearly drawn and firmly defended. That is all for today from Kenya Lens Media, at least for now. Kindly, if you're new here, consider subscribing, liking, and sharing our contents. Also hit the notification bell, turn it on, so that you can be receiving notifications each and every time we bring in a new video.